Rain slammed against the windshield of Officer Daniel Cross's patrol car as he pulled up beside a gas station on the edge of town. A frail man sat near the dumpsters, wrapped in a torn blanket, shivering. Daniel glanced at him once, then looked away. Another homeless guy. Another night. He turned up the radio and muttered, "Not my problem." But as he drove off, a flash of metal glinted under the dim streetlight. Something pinned to the man's chest. A medal. Take a moment right now to like this video, share it with others, and subscribe to Moral Avenue. Together, we can remind the world that compassion costs nothing but means everything. Officer Daniel Cross was known for his discipline, clean uniform, clean record. But under that crisp badge lived a man worn down by disappointment. His wife had left 2 years ago, saying he'd become cold as his uniform. He didn't see it that way. He saw himself as focused, practical, immune to weakness. Helping people wasn't part of his job anymore. Not the ones who didn't help themselves. Every morning, Daniel passed the same stretch of Main Street, the corner where the forgotten lived. Cardboard signs, coffee cups rattling for change. Sometimes he'd toss $1 just to feel decent. Most times he'd just roll past. Until that night, the man by the gas station wasn't like the others. His hair was white but neatly trimmed. His hands trembled, but his posture was straight, like someone who once stood tall in uniform. The next morning, when Daniel returned to the same spot, the man was still there, only this time. He wasn't moving. His face was pale, lips blue from the cold. Daniel froze. For a second, the officer called him for a medical. The human in him hesitated. Then, as he knelt beside the man, he saw it clearly, a bronze medal hanging from a frayed ribbon. The inscription read, "Valor in Combat, U.S. Marine Corps." "Hey, sir." Daniel shook the man's shoulder. No response. He called dispatch for an ambulance. As paramedics lifted the old veteran onto the stretcher, Daniel noticed a worn leather wallet peeking from the man's coat pocket. Inside was a folded photo of 3 young Marines smiling beside a tank in the desert sun. One of them looked just like the man on the stretcher, decades younger. On the back of the photo, scrawled in faded ink, "Brothers Forever, 3rd Battalion, Fallujah." Daniel felt a tightness in his throat. He'd been 12 when Fallujah hit the news. He remembered his father, a veteran himself, watching in silence every night, whispering, "Some heroes come home, some don't." The hospital called later that night. The veteran's name was James Rowe, 68 years old, severe pneumonia, malnourished, no listed family. Daniel hung up and sat in his patrol car, staring at the rain again. For the first time in years, he felt something he couldn't shake. He'd driven past this man for weeks, maybe months. He opened his glove box and took out a photo of his late father, in uniform. "Dad," he muttered, "I think I just failed one of yours." That night, Daniel couldn't sleep. He drove back to the hospital after his shift, pretending it was a routine check. But deep down, he knew it wasn't. He found James in room 214, hooked to 4 lines, breathing shallowly. His few belongings sat in a plastic bag by the bed blanket, shoes, wallet, and that medal. Daniel picked it up carefully, feeling its cold weight in his palm. "How does a man who earned this," he whispered, "end up forgotten?" The nurse on duty sighed. No next of kin. No visitors. He's been living behind that gas station for months. Said he didn't want help. Didn't deserve it, he told me. Didn't deserve it? Daniel asked. She nodded. Something about a mistake in a rock. Said he lost good man. Carried it ever since. Over the next few days, Daniel found himself visiting James every shift. He'd bring coffee, talk about small things like weather, baseball, the noise of the city. Slowly, the veteran began to open up. "War doesn't end when you come home," James murmured one night. "It follows you. You bury it under routine, but it waits." Daniel nodded. He didn't know that kind of pain, but he understood the emptiness. Then one afternoon, while Daniel was on patrol, a call came through. Unidentified male found deceased, possible exposure, near East Park. His stomach sank. He raced there. It wasn't James, but beside the body was something familiar. Another medal, identical to James's. Daniel began digging through records. He learned that 3 veterans from the same unit, Rose unit, had gone missing over the years. 2 found dead, 1 still unaccounted for, and each had once lived near that same part of town. Daniel's instincts kicked in. This wasn't just a coincidence. Someone was targeting homeless veterans, or they were hiding from something. He confronted James at the hospital. What happened after Fallujah? James turned his head away. You don't want to know. I think I need to. Silence stretched. Finally, James spoke, his voice cracking. We made a bad call. I was leading that squad. We were ordered to clear a building. Turns out civilians were inside. Kids. It wasn't supposed to happen. They pinned this metal on me to make it go away. I left the Corps the next day. Daniel felt the air leave his lungs. You punish yourself all these years. I couldn't live in a house bought with blood, James whispered. So I gave it all away. Just waited to be forgotten. Daniel's chest ached. You didn't deserve this life. James looked at him with hollow eyes. No, but I chose it. The following week, Daniel organized a quiet ceremony. He didn't announce it to the press, just gathered a few officers and a chaplain in the hospital courtyard. They cleaned the metal, polished it, and placed it beside James's bed. When James woke, he saw the flag draped across his lap, and tears filled his eyes. You shouldn't have done this, he whispered. Daniel shook his head. You earned this. Whatever happened, you served. James smiled faintly. Thank you, officer. But as Daniel turned to leave, James said something that stopped him cold. You remind me of someone, he said softly. The boy in that photo is one of the Marines beside me. His name was Cross. Said he had a son back home. Daniel froze. Cross? As in Sergeant Matthew Cross. James nodded. Yeah, you knew him. Daniel's voice cracked. He was my father. The world went silent. James stared, stunned. Your father saved my life that day in Fallujah. He pushed me out when the roof collapsed. I thought he died angry at me. I never knew his son became a cop. Daniel's eyes filled with tears. The man he had ignored was the very soldier his father had died saving. He stepped back, unable to speak. James reached for his hand. Maybe your father sent you my way to forgive what I never could. That night, Daniel drove home under the same cold rain, but something inside him had shifted. He pulled over near the gas station, stepped out, and placed a blanket and hot meal beside the dumpster, exactly where James once sat. The next morning, when he returned to the hospital, James was gone. His bed is empty, sheets folded. Only the metal remained along with a handwritten note. Officer Cross, thank you for seeing me. The war is finally over. JR. Daniel clenched the note in his fist. But then, something else fell from the envelope. A photo. His father, James, and the other Marines smiling again. Only this time, there was writing at the bottom. For the ones who carry the weight so others can stand free. Daniel stood there for a long time, staring at the empty bed. Then his radio buzzed. Officer Cross, we got another report missing a veteran near Riverside. You might want to check it out. He looked down at the metal one last time, then grabbed his badge. Dispatch, he said quietly. I'm on my way. The camera would fade to black here, leaving a haunting echo of footsteps down a hospital hallway, setting up the next part. Moral, never judge someone by what you see. They might be carrying the weight of the world in silence. If this story shook you, make sure to subscribe to Moral Avenue, where we uncover the truth behind kindness, justice, and the choices that define us. Please take a moment to like this video, share it with friends, and leave a comment below. Before we end, I have one special request. Comment below what would you have done if you were Officer Cross that night. Thank you for watching Moral Avenue.